Hello and welcome to our final Expanse Season 5 review. I'm here with Ashaya. We've got some lovely background music. Nemesis Games is what we're going to be discussing this evening. Unfortunately, there's no Expanse this evening, but if you're here with us, we will be celebrating what an amazing season of sci-fi this was. Ashaya, it's sad that we don't have the Expanse, but we're happy because we're celebrating the fact that it was so good.
Yeah, and the fact that we're lucky enough to know we've got a season 6. They're already filming, so we get to do this all again come maybe December.
Yeah, and I think just overall, big clap, round of applause for all the showrunners, the writers, the actors and actresses. We'll talk about our MVPs of the season and whatnot later. But yeah, overall, I was just super impressed with the way everything went down this season. And I guess we'll talk about the episode a little bit, like impressions of the episode. I'm not sure if it was my favorite of the season, but it was in my top 2. I really like Gaugamela. I would say it's up there. We'll talk about our favorite scenes and stuff after. But yeah, it was just a really impressive finale. We had the epic space battle that we wanted, or parts of that. We had really tense moments, and then we had mystery at the end, which was actually probably my favorite part, setting up an epic season 6. So yeah, I was happy with how it ended.
Yeah, I was happy with how it ended too. I'm surprised to hear that it was in your top 2 of the season, though. I would have it in the bottom couple, the bottom few, for a few reasons I'll get into. There are some things I loved about it, some plot lines, and some things I thought were on the weaker side. But overall, obviously, every episode this season I love. So
the death of Kamal makes it a 10. No, sorry. The death of Kamal makes me happy. Only because I predicted it for the previous 3 episops, and
you didn't think it would be Mitya, though.
Yeah, which was really cool. So yeah. Let's get into it. Everybody, welcome. Happy Tuesday. We hope that you're all having a great week so far. Of course, there's no Expanse, but that's what we're here for, here to discuss it. Where should we start, Ashaya? I guess let's start with all the ships and getting a look at that, and then Drummer, I think. Maybe we should start off with that.
Yeah, especially because I was confused the first time I watched the battle, so I really wanted to get into that. Especially the first time, it was weird. They didn't have English subtitles. If you watched it live, like pretty much no one had English subtitles, which is hard for a show like this. Anyways, so when I watched it again, I was still confused. So I looked into it more, and I, paused and all that. So this is what happens. I don't know if anyone in the chat, were you confused, Kyle? Do you think like beat for beat what happened in that battle?
Not exactly.
See, that's if you don't know exactly, that's why I think we should get into it a little.
Yeah, there was definitely some betrayal. I know that.
Okay, so we've got the 2 Martian ships, which is one was the Serial Mal, a frigate, and one was the Koto, a destroyer. Then we've got Drummer ships, the Tynan, which is Drummer and crew, the DeWalt, which is Joseph and Oksana, and the Motang, which is just those background crew that we've talked about, how obviously they need more crew. And so they have the Motang. First off, Drummer disables Kamal. She presses that button when Karal's sitting there in shock. She hits a button, and she delays the DeWalt from acting by hitting them, because she knows Joseph and Oksana. She doesn't think Oksana will listen to what Drummer says. So she's like, let's keep them from acting.
That was pretty clear after she locked her up and all of that.
Yeah, so she does that. Then Kamal is killed, and then Drummer, she makes her call, and she tells the Motang crew to disengage, presumably because she believes they will just listen to her as the, leader of the fleet. And so she tells them to disengage. Then Drummer sends out some torpedoes to attack the Koto, that destroyer. The Rocinante. Okay, so the Drummer attacks the Koto. And then the Rocinante shoots at it, but the Koto can't turn fast enough. So basically they attack it from both sides, and they catch the Koto. And then the Rocinante starts to attack the Serial Mal, which was that big-ass frigate. And the Rocinante can't really hold its own against that. But Joseph, on the DeWalt, he presses the fire button and he distracts the Serial Mall. They have to defend themselves from the from the DeWalt. And they can't turn around in time for the Rocinante to destroy them. So basically, Joseph was really important there.
Yeah, I was cheering because, like, in that moment, like, I felt like he was very conflicted. I think we talked a little bit about in our last review how there was the possibility of this family fracturing for good, right? And we could clearly see that the ideals and the morals of each person differed greatly based on their experience in life, and that's okay. But I think that, like, you know, I was really surprised at Oksana in the end. We'll talk about that and how upset she was. But it makes sense considering how she felt about the oppression that's, you know, relating to the Belters and what's happened in their history. But yeah, I wasn't surprised that Joseph did it, but I was like, okay, someone's going to step up to the plate. Me and you were both surprised about Michio, who's a bit, I don't want to say submissive, but as far as like group voices, she wasn't the most outspoken one. So for her to kill Corral and then Joseph to kind of step up there, especially with his dynamic with Oksana and their relationship, that was really like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to kill our friends, the Rocinante here. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think Michio, like as you say, she comes off as meek and all of that, but she did voice her opinion on this. She didn't want to get into this. She wanted them to go away. She was one of them. She was maybe the one that was the most against doing this. So as much as I was surprised to see her be violent there, her standing with Drummer wasn't surprising to me. Out of all the ones that might have stayed with her, I think I would have predicted her number one. And Joseph is interesting to me because him and Oksana are close enough that they have matching tattoos. And so we've seen such a connection between them. And with Michio and Bertold, they seem to have a particular connection too. And so both of them had their families split up with what seems like some of their closest lovers. So that's interesting to me.
I didn't find it like surprising, Ashaya, because I felt like in the last episode we talked about like how far was Corral gonna make them go, like, you know, continue to push them to do something beyond their limit. And clearly Joseph and Michio didn't want to go, like they knew if they continued that they would just be pushed even further. Like, what's next? Eradicating the Belters that disagree with Marco? Because that's the kind of step that authoritarianism takes. And Marco, with he's got such a large ego at this point. I mean, look at how he treats his son. Yeah, like they're like, well, what's going to happen to us, really? Yeah, we bend the knee to Marco, but then eventually we do what he wants, and he doesn't like a certain way that we act or look at him, and then we're gone. It doesn't take long for us to space him. I mean, he spaced Ashford. You know, yeah, they had different ideals, but so I expected someone to step up to the plate. Surprised that it was Michio. Joseph, not so much, because I felt like he was uneasy about the way the direction that and the influence that Corral was starting to have, and also Marco was starting to have on their morality at the end of the day.
Yeah, he was asking questions when they went to the Pella. If you remember, he was asking, well, how are we going to support everyone? What is your long-term plan? So he was really thinking about it. We can see right there. Another question I had here is, you know, Drummer, she attacks Corral. My first question, I thought maybe she planned to trade Corral for Serge, like thought maybe it didn't mean that Serge had to die. Ty in the after show said that Drummer's decision was in the moment, but I still think Drummer didn't necessarily think that she had to kill Corral. That's how it worked out, but she could have maybe.
Well, look at how she died, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a common movie trope. You know, someone gets hit in the back of the head with a statue and then hits their head on a table or like, you know, a wall or something.
And so throughout this, though, it's a really hard place that Drummer is in because, yeah, as Oksana thinks that she's killing Serge, but really she's asking her to act, to kill someone else to save him versus through inaction to lead to someone else's death, right? Like there's a difference between Drummer killing people and her just refusing to kill someone and then Serge is killed, I think.
It was at the point where if Drummer didn't act, like, what was their legacy really going to be? Killing the Rocinante and then attacking Earth again? Because Rocinante was, look at how far Avasarala grew. Like, she was, like, legitimately trying to reach out to Belter. She's like, listen, everybody needs to calm down. We can't kill 9,000 to 13,000 innocent Belters. We need to talk to these people. We need to let them know that, if you're not aligned with Marco, we're not going to hurt you. You know what I mean? But, like, the idea of letting it go any further was like, okay, like, this was the time. Killing the Rocinante crew. You've got to remember that Naomi and the Rocinante crew helped saved a lot of Belters, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. So, yeah, it would be, I mean, in addition to them being people that Drummer knows or just people in general, they're people that she knows have done really, really good things. Yeah, you're completely right.
And but Philip, like, is someone who doesn't know the story of some of the great acts of Holden and Naomi and Amos. You know, he's
beginning to know.
He's beginning to know
into it, yeah.
And some Belters do, though. That's the thing, right? Like, people know about these heroic adventures and things that they've done. So I think that I think that was certainly in the mind of Joseph and Misha. I guess that's kind of the point I'm trying to get to, Shea, is like, we're not going to forget about that, because if we go any further with what Marco wants, we're going to have a full-blown war that we might lose and just get eradicated from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't. I mean, yeah, Marco is certainly getting ships in the black market and stuff like that. But as far as, like, morality goes, I felt like it was like a moral choice as opposed to, like, I guess it could be a logical one too. Like, they don't want to get in war. You know what I mean? It's a really tough decision, I think, for all of them to do that. But ultimately, I think they made the right choice.
I think they did too, for sure. And I am curious going forward if this is the end of Berthold and Oksana. I mean, this is a way to sort of pare the family down so we can focus on Drummer, Joseph, and Michio, because it is easier to give them more depth when we only have two of them. Or if that's going to be brought forward into the next season, and we're going to see the rest of the Polyam Belter fam in the future. I kind of guess no, because Sandrine Holt, who plays Oksana, is a little bit more of a hot commodity of, like, a person that you cast, like, for one season kind of role. But
she's been in multiple shows like that, and she's been like featured. Yeah.
Oh, so that's kind of my guess, but I would like to see. I
don't see her joining up with Marco. Do you see her joining up with Marco? I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening, but I would like to get maybe some resolution, even some dialogue that they got away. Yeah, I would like to know what happens to them ultimately. I can't imagine that that is it. They all never speak to each other again. They were a family. I don't know. It was so abrupt and heartbreaking.
That felt to me like a final conversation.
Yeah, it was a final conversation, but I don't know. There's so many.
I know how much it's hurting you to, like, just, like, be like, oh, that family, you know?
Yeah, I love that family, but I mean, it's TV, so they probably won't go into it, but there are still a bunch of things that you end up having to communicate about with someone when you break up. You just do. I thought about this. I almost didn't bring it up because it is TV. But don't they have stuff on each other's ships? Like, there's going to be some awkward moments.
Like when you go back to your ex's house to collect the box. Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming back for that whiskey that I forgot. You know, that one time that we all snuggled together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to revisit it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think that Michio and Joseph will be relatively featured with Drummer?
I mean, Drummer is still going to be around, so yeah, I think so. And I think that might have been a way to like, we will see Drummer's band together, like, in season 6, right? And I guess we'll see more of them and their dynamic of those three people, right? Like, maybe they will show, like, kind of a dueling. We do see dueling arcs in many ways in TV like that, but I don't know. I don't feel like Oksana is, like, a POV character that they're just going to go out of their way to feature in the show or anything like that. Like, I felt like this was a pretty good arc, though. Like, you know, for season 5, I felt like it was relevant to showing us insight into some of the feelings of the Belters and kind of the friction of the ideas of what Marco and all the Belters are feeling, and also some of the other people. But I really don't think we're going to see more of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. No. Okay. But more of Drummer's family. And
we're gonna see Michio.
Okay.
We're gonna see Joseph, and we'll see Drummer, and they'll be and you know what? I think that their relationships will be better off because of this situation, because they kind of pledged to each other like, hey, like, this was a really tough decision to make in that moment. Like, this is a life or death thing that they chose to make together. Essentially.
I think so too. Yeah, I think their relationship will deepen.
And Joseph's like, I'm staying. Like him saying, I'm staying. He was hurt in that. Like you could tell the emotion, like how hurt he was for having to say that. But I think he was like pretty sure he was making the right decision to stay.
Yeah. And Oksana just assumes that he's going with her right there. She doesn't even question the idea that he would, even though he's the one that fired. She still just thinks, of course, he's coming.
She just came off to me as rude, like really rude. Yeah. Like I didn't like her attitude.
A lot of people don't like Oksana. A lot of people don't.
I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to feel the way she does, but I just like really curious, like with like letting Marco commit genocide again. Like you're okay with that? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that whole kind of gray area, but I was surprised how she treated Joseph. Like that felt rude to me.
Yeah. One little thing throughout all the sadness, the floating tears. Those were really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. There was a lot of floating water and floating tears.
We got on these ships we got floating water and floating tears and hopefully no other floating liquids.
Yeah, people are Marco. Marco's a psychopath. Let's just say that, or a sociopath. People are talking about. Yeah.
Well, yeah. What are people talking about? Let's see.
People are debating in chat. Just the morality of having to side with Marco and what's going on with the Belters and all of that.
Yes.
I think Will has the perfect comment. We'll read it. He is a narcissist who uses other people for his own aggrandizement and does not seem to have any empathy at all. I think he lacks. I mean, if he lacks empathy for his son and his ex-life partner, then I think, I think when it comes down to it, he does what's best for him. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do what's best for you, but yeah, this is pretty different. He's an egomaniac.
Marco, do what's best for you. You do you.
Overall, I was like pretty happy with the Drummer storyline this season. Like, I felt like she definitely got more. I wouldn't say more screen time. I don't know. I felt like we got to see another side of her, a more emotional side of her, and it was pretty crazy. Like, I felt Kara G did a really I felt like this was her strongest performance. I think out of all the seasons, she was pregnant for a lot of these really intense emotional scenes. So, applause to Kara G for that. I mean, I'm going to do the applause for all. I felt like everybody did a great performance. I'm a simp for the Expanse. What can I say? So
I think all we can do is just rave about the Drummer plot line and move on. I really did like it though, and I was very happy with the consequences that Drummer and her family faced ultimately for their decision. So I thought that was well written.
One really interesting thing is we see people come together at the end of the episode. Avasarala says, "This is why we fight." It'd be interesting to see if Drummer has a seat at the table at the UN or anything like that. She was part of the reason why Naomi got rescued and part of the reason why the Rocinante is still there. And Avasarala greatly admires Holden and what they do for Earth and Soul, the Soul system. Like, they are pretty much the best. They're like the guardians of the galaxy of the Soul system, pretty much. So I know, weird analogy, but anyways, we can talk a little bit more about the Avasarala stuff later. But it'll be interesting to see where her story goes. Like I said, I haven't read the books. I will probably read them in the off season, but not a clear direction on as to where it's going to be headed for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she's Drummer. Oh, yeah, I guess we'll talk about our predictions a little bit towards the end, probably, right? You think? Yeah.
I think so.
So Rocinante obviously was all tied up in this battle and was part of it. And there's really very little to say about the time on the Rocinante ship, except Bull has made such a big fuss about risking his life. None of the nameless crew or Monica raise any concerns. I guess they're fine with risking their lives. And Bull's the only baby about this all. But I thought it was realistic. I will give him that.
Yeah.
And I know they can't show us the rest of the crew, but when he raises those concerns, it makes me wonder, hey, what do the other members of the crew think about risking their lives?
Yeah, he has made some comments that have been off-putting, including like the Naomi is your girlfriend, like, you know what I mean, like really annoying, like just chatter, like dude, like Holden gives him the appropriate scolding in the form of his side eye, which I think is his side eye game is so Holden's side eye game is super strong. Yeah, but it was super interesting to see the Bull dynamic. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? If he's there, it's cool. Obviously, I thought that there was a strong chance that we would get the death of Alex Kamal, which did happen. Which what happened in reshoots, it looks like, Ashaya, because it looks like there was different scenes where Alex was at the celebration where Naomi was rescued, and then they chose to do that, and we know why that's the case.
Yeah. If anyone, it was posted on X-Ray. They accidentally posted the old stills. So if anyone happens to want to see those old stills of Alex as part of the reunion, feel free to chime in the chat and I'll upload. I grabbed them. I saved them before they were removed and I uploaded them to an Imgur album. So it was interesting. The reason I thought he maybe wouldn't die this season was just I didn't know that they would get in for reshoots necessarily and that they might need to deal with it like episode 1 or something. So yeah, he died, and a lot of people's opinions on this are very mixed, I think, for a lot of different...
It's like 50-50 split, I think.
Yeah, and I think some people are really dissatisfied with Alex's death because they don't believe the background stuff, whatever, that BS. Some people think it wasn't properly done. It wasn't well done. That's a different
like
sort
the
of
the off-screen portion of it. Yeah.
Some people think he should have been recast. So that's like a third version. I don't know. I hate that idea.
That's the worst option.
That's the worst option for me too. So anyways, there's a good portion of people who feel different ways about it negatively. Personally, I like that they have set this up. People do die of strokes. They've brought that up many, many times Bobby in the episode, she brings it up that's a risk. In the books, there's a character who dies via stroke. And, sometimes that's how death is. And so I like that they did that. I found in Nemesis Games a quote where Alex even brings up, he says, he hoped he wasn't having a stroke, but it'd be fair if he did, which is just a funny coincidence. And I liked his death. I thought, like Amos said, he died doing something very noble. Yeah, and flying. Yeah, it was. I
think the context of the situation of everyone knowing what happened and that he wasn't going to be in season 6 made for more of the feeling that everyone had. I guess that kind of really was compounded with, the stylistic choice of what they chose to do with his character. Like I had thought that you were pretty on the ball. Like I thought that maybe they would send him off in episode 1 of season 6, which would be kind of cool with his family. But I also thought that they could possibly kill him. And I actually said in our last review that I thought if he was going to die, it was going to be to sacrifice himself to save Naomi. And I think that is perfectly fine. Like through the past 2 episodes, he's been saying we're going to get her back, and he was really focused on that, and he cared about that, and he died doing that. So, I think that's a super noble thing and honorable. Like that's like for Alex to go out in a wild ride like that. I think for his character, I think it's like not my favorite version of him going out. You know what I mean? I would love him to go with the Rossi in like a giant space battle and something like that, but. This is kind of, saving Naomi. That's pretty sweet, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'm positive on it, but it is quite polarizing for sure.
And it was cool because he if it wasn't for him and Bobby putting their brains together and noticing that Naomi Nagata was using belter signs and sign language with her arms, they would have went in there and they would have died. So Naomi saved them too. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Yes. That's enough about Alex's death for me right there. I gotta say, when Naomi is saved, we'll talk about that. Which I mean, everyone's raving about this sequence, and this is a big change from the books, where it's kind of a big, exciting moment, like actiony, where Naomi is saved, and instead it's very like understated. We're really keyed in on Naomi, not knowing if she'll be saved, and then Bobby just like hits her with this thunk and like, a savior. I thought that was really well done, and I think it was more meaningful than reading it in the books.
Yeah, I thought that moment was really sweet. My favorite scene of the episode was when Naomi launched herself out. Can we just say Naomi is the most courageous person in the fucking universe? I wouldn't have been able to do that. I'm not trying to imagine myself floating in space, twirling. I'm already agoraphobic of very large spaces. For me to be, I would be dead. My heart would have stopped. I wouldn't have survived that shit. Okay, I don't know if many of us would.
I don't think I would have made it off Luna. I think
I wouldn't have got on a goddamn spaceship, Ashaya. All right.
I think at that point, at where technology is, that I could take the spaceship up to Luna, because you take like the little orbital shuttle. I think I could do that. But the second you have to like get the juice and go high G, I'm out. I'm out for sure.
I'm going to post how many of you would go out in space like that. 1 for yes, 2 for no. I'm curious to see if anyone says yes. If you do, you're insane. Yeah. What was your so we both, I think, agree that the Naomi stuff, there was they dragged on that stuff for a few episodes. I felt the payoff was worth it. But and
I think it needed to be really slow to really make it hit. But I think it was just a little too long. I think maybe half an episode too long. You know what I mean? But I think it's good to let us sit with that, I suppose. Let's see, what are people saying in the chat here?
There's a bunch of twos. Alexander says, under the same circumstances, 1, to save yourself, or to save your friends. Yeah, to be courageous. I'm just saying I wouldn't have even lasted that long. But, just Naomi is a warrior. So, yeah. Mostly 2s, which is good, I think. Yeah.
Elvis says, I think the Diogo is more brave than Naomi. He floated in space for days, and that wasn't his first time. It's what belters do. He at least had some air. He could survive.
And Naomi had subjected herself to torture for days trying to get her message through and stuff like that. She had lit I felt there was 2 MVPs of the season. I felt Naomi was one, even though she had some lag with her episodes. I also felt that I felt like Avasarala and Naomi shared the MVP this season.
I love that you as far as what, and then I'll say
no, just as far as they had the strongest emotional performances. I cried multiple times this season.
See, I think you've got your Avasarala bias showing. I don't think she was. I wonder in the chat. I think she had the biggest growth.
Pouring out your cunt mouth. I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken. But
I do think she maybe showed the greatest growth, but I don't think that her performance was the greatest or had the most range. I think that was Naomi. Naomi. My top 2 would be Naomi and Drummer for who I think.
Now your Drummer bias is showing.
Apparently. But I like.
No, she had a great performance too, though.
Yeah, all ladies for us. If we were going to name a top 3, I guess.
Yeah, Holden took more of a backseat to the ladies this season, which is okay. Amos had I think more screen time than Holden, maybe. I think.
I would say so.
Yeah, I know that Holden's going to have a huge role in season 6. Obviously, like I wouldn't say he's the main protagonist because we have multiple POVs that are considered main characters, but I think he'll be central.
He is the main protagonist in that every single Expanse book, every single main book has Holden as a POV. Not a single other book has Holden as any other character as a POV in every book. So yes, Holden is as main of a character as you can get.
Yeah. But I didn't think it was a bad stylistic choice to have it like this. I felt like these stories were really compelling, and I enjoyed watching them. Of course, I don't feel like every episode was a 10, but I this is my second favorite season of The Expanse, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where I rated it as well. I remember when we talked. Yeah, I think it's probably second for me as well. Mm-hmm.
Where do we want to continue with the Ashaya? Do we want to do?
I wanted to do the Luna reunion, right?
But we, I was gonna say, just to back on the Naomi scene. That scene, just even though it made me dizzy and it was crazy, that scene was just so epic. I really feel that Naomi should be nominated for an award for her performance for that scene. It was just insane. I think it was just crazy. Like I don't think they will get nominated because they're so perennially underrated. But you know what I mean? Like I felt like she gave that good of a performance. Like that scene was just insane. For me, anyways. I don't know how you guys feel about it in chat, but I messaged her on Instagram in her thread, and she seemed to like my comment. So hopefully she's.
I agree, and I think it's good, period, in general. But I also think she's had one of the biggest improvements from season 1 in terms of her acting. And Dominique has brought this up in interviews and stuff, which is that she'd only been acting for a couple of years. She was a dancer and a singer and all that before she did The Expanse. And so she was pretty fresh at it. And I think you can see over time that she becomes more comfortable, that she knows the character Naomi better. And I think, and she gets the most material, in this season to do the most range. It's really all in the material that you are given,
which is fair. let's talk about Luna.
Yeah, we get to say goodbye to Erich right there. He's going off to some other planet, as you hear, which is pretty exciting, pretty interesting. Didn't get the Erich, Avasarala, or Clarissa, anything with them. No goodbye between Erich and Clarissa. A little disappointing, but only so much time.
Tequila! No! Yeah. I really enjoyed the display and how they showed the relationship of Amos and Erich. That was really cool. I felt like they certainly had experienced a lot of the same things in life, Amos and Erich, and they didn't have the same values of where they are because they became different people. You could see that clearly as they've grown and matured into different people. But I really love that last moment. Like Amos doesn't even say anything. He just puts his hand on his shoulder. Like he didn't have to say "I love you," but like it was like, "Hey man, like good luck." You know what I mean? Good luck in your life. Like I know you're like it, like the look that Wes, God damn it, Amos gave him. It was just like I really loved that moment. And like you could show that they cared about each other and that it was just a nice solid bromance. I loved it.
Yes. We got one of the funniest, maybe the funniest scene of the whole season, I think probably, which was Amos talking to Holden, trying to get Clarissa into the
Oh man, I was like, oh my God. I knew it was coming, right? Because he was like buttering up Holden. He's like, hey man, we're cool about this, right? And he's like, and then he just grabs her by the hand. You're with me, Peaches. And Holden's look, there was just Holden has the best reactions out of anyone. Right? He's like, you got to be fucking shitting me. It's like a parent and a teenager brings back like a 15-year-old kid brings back his girlfriend. That's what it felt like. Like Holden was the dad in that moment. You know what I mean? And he's like, I don't know. His kid brought back a punk rocker, like this punk rock chick home in like a Catholic family or something. I don't know.
and then before that, he looks like so genuinely concerned about Amos feeling this way. He's like, "Of course, we're family. How are you worried? How could you be worried? I would never do that." Little does he know.
And Amos just bamboozles him like it was just. I think Holden will have his general reaction as he usually does. He's very pensive about things and he'll be cautious. But I don't think Clarissa's a threat now. I think that she'll have to earn Holden's trust.
Yeah.
But I think that she will do something to show that she's valuable to the crew of the Rossi. And they need people who are able to fight and survive, and she definitely can fit that bill.
Yeah.
And she knows a lot about the protomolecule. Well, her dad knew a lot about the protomolecule.
Yeah, not so much her,
Yeah.
but she has some piloting skill and she has some engineering skill and she can learn more on the job. She can apprentice more, under Amos and whatnot. So it'll be very interesting to see how Holden reacts to Clarissa over time.
But did you I really enjoyed I wouldn't say the buddy comedy between Clarissa and Amos because they had an incredible road trip. But I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that aspect about this season, like them all the way up, leading to them rocketing to Luna, which was like that. Before takeoff was one of the most epic scenes. And it felt like we really got to know Amos and Clarissa a lot more. Like we really dived into their inner workings and some of the reasons they act the way they do. And I feel like that's always super important for character development. Like if we're going to finding out more about their backstory and finding ways to empathize with characters, they definitely chose to put that on display for Clarissa and Amos this season for sure.
Clarissa is a pretty polarizing figure in the fandom. I don't know if you're aware of that as a character that people like, because really it gets at the crux of redemption and how much redemption can you have. Clarissa voices that herself when she talks about some stains don't come out, but we see her, she's trying so earnestly to be a good person here. And this thing she says make her so likable to me. And she kind of is haunted by her own mistakes within that these implants are killing her, which are which is somewhat maybe punishment of its own. So I like Clarissa, but some people just can't get over the fact that, not only was she killing a whole ship of people, she killed someone that was her friend that was teaching her. Remember, and hit him and she did some pretty gruesome things, basically. Like, it was a little more extreme than just killing someone.
I think she's an intriguing character because as a human, I think most of us can understand her trauma. Like, she wasn't, like, her father didn't pay the same attention to her as he did with Julie. And that was pretty clear from the start. Like, when they did show the idea of her having to be perfect in front of him and all of that, like the idea of having to be a perfect daughter, like there is no such thing as perfect, but imagine having to live up to those standards. That's an incredibly difficult and stressful thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, and it just breaks my heart in a way that she didn't get the affection and love that she deserved, and that's part of the reason probably why that she made some of the choices that she did, and that she went, got in with these people and committed some of these acts. Now, I'm not justifying that she did them, but certainly it makes us understand the character more. And I think you're right, like kind of a reverse hero's journey from villain to maybe hero. Maybe she commits some. She does something that's heroic. Yeah.
People bring up in the chat, and I should have mentioned this, which is that she already was party to saving the whole system. That was, like Drummer says, it was a group effort. Her and, Naomi was part of it, and Drummer was part of it. But Clarissa was also a pivotal part of it when they were all stopping Ashford from, shooting a missile and in the ring space. So I don't know, though, if I think saving people redeems you or excuses you killing people, let alone that many people. I don't know what I think about that. It's a very big philosophical and moral issue. But I don't have to deal with it much because I don't know people who kill people, and I have killed people, so it's not something I really have to face for myself. It's an interesting
question to ask, because I feel like in some ways Philip and Clarissa have, like, you know what I mean? Because Marco manipulates Philip, and that's his main influence, and that's his father. And I feel like, like parents can obviously have a huge influence in how you turn out, right? I mean, Philip thinks look at what he slapped his mom, and then, but like, obviously I think deep down he knows that what he did was like just in this last episode. I think we can transition to some of the Marco stuff soon, but I feel like he's like, I'm just doing my job. You can just tell he said that to appease him, so he didn't have to go through this, an emotional roller coaster with his dad of a conversation. Like, his dad says that he's proud of him, but it's empty. You can tell that Philip knows it's empty. He doesn't really mean it.
I agree. I look forward to seeing where Philip goes in the next season, and if he breaks away from Marco and all of that. Very curious. We are still on the Luna reunion, and I just want to say that we have this whole like Naomi's message and all that. And I don't know if anyone in the chat wants to chime in. This is where my criticisms come. And why this episode is low for me is that I kind of feel like a lot of this is cheesy. I kind of feel like some of the dialogue is cheesy, but it's this culminating moment. It's this wrap up. That's pretty standard. It's some cheesiness. It's some, it's sweet. It's saccharine. It's a little too much for me. So I have that criticism, but I think that's natural. I don't know what you thought. I don't know if there were any lines there where you were like, okay. Like when Avasarala is giving her speech, for example, it was a little much.
This is why we fight type of deal. That's like a cookie cutter statement. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And also, just in terms of the party itself, it kind of just seems tone deaf. People are struggling. That people were attacked because Earth was attacked because of a lack of resources already, and they're just kind of partying it up there in fancy clothes. They are celebrating something, but still showing that as some great victory, it just seems tone deaf to me. And then it seems like Naomi's the only belter. She's like the token belter. And I like that Naomi's like showing off her tattoos and her outfit. And I love that we got fancy dress from all of them. But it was just kind of shallow for me personally.
It was too specifically targeted. Like it was like pushed. It was like push dialogue, you feel?
Yeah. Someone sentient dildo. She came a long way. Like, yeah, we know. We saw that Avasarala came a long way. We don't really need that voice. I think the Expanse is better than that.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, it was interesting to see that party go down. Like, I felt like. We like they're going to be celebrating, and then something bad was going to happen, and that's actually what happened. I felt uneasy about it because I was like, that's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't like, and we didn't get much Marco in the beginning of the episode. He was just like, and I was like, okay, something did feel off to me, like that they were like just like, oh yeah, this is great, like the Marco's still out there, and then we see,
I am a knife in the darkness.
Yeah, that's a pretty big line.
It was a cool line. It was one of the times that Marco has actually kind of chilled me a little bit, where I was like, oh, that's a little ominous, actually.
Yeah, and then we see that the Martians have a completely rogue group of their navy that are allied with Marco.
Yes. Allied with Marco, not subject to Marco. They're all theorizing, if you remember, throughout the episode, what could be going on, and they think that maybe some people, Martians, are subject to him. But no, they are separate. And as you hear in the episode, they reference an Admiral Duarte, and they reference how you'll get shot if you mess up. That's martial law, basically, and a number of other things about the draconian policies of Laconia. And
Draconia sounds similar.
Yeah, and as always, by the way, with all of the things they name, like Laconia, the Chetzamoka, all of those names, the authors they put so much thought into it and into the history of it. So it is worth looking those names up. without us going into it.
I was actually talking with Aziz about this, like, because after I talked to you, I'd like had to talk to someone else about it. I was talking to John Hagee a little bit in chat and some other people, just like kind of like of how like the end of the episode was my favorite part. We're definitely going to get into that, but yeah, I like the authoritarianism, the vibes of, oh, you can't have a token of love that you got from your mother. You must submit to me, and you must submit completely. It felt cult-like. That's what it felt like. And that was really concerning, considering what we saw at the end of the episode. That scares the shit out of me. Okay?
Anything that Cortazar is into should scare you, I think, in general, as a rule of thumb.
I always felt like, Marco's like that guerrilla warfare guy, as opposed to Martians who are like trying to create another Earth, but also are incredibly opposed to the kind of elitist, classist, style of life that they've felt from Earth. Obviously, they want to move beyond that. They want to become something superior. But sometimes this is what happens. I'm not liking the Laconia.
Yeah, it's this offshoot of Mars, which is like one mind, one body. We're all focused on one goal, and it just gets even more extreme here with Laconia, and with the idea that, hey, here are whole planets that we don't have to, make habitable. Let's just take off here, do our own thing. And as you can tell, Duarte, he says, Sauveterre says that, they set up the minefield, the asteroid field, so that no one can get through without their permission, basically. So clearly they don't even want people to see what they're doing. They want to be locked off. They say, Marco, do whatever you want to Sol System. That's yours. We're just going to be here doing some stuff. We got some weird platforms.
Yeah. I have my theory as to what we saw at the end of the episode was. Are we quite there yet, Ashaya? I'm dying to talk about what the hell that was.
Yeah, we're there for sure.
Okay, so I guess because I haven't read the books, like I don't know, this might sound completely crazy. At first I was like, that can't be a being. Like that would, like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the space rock that could, Eros doesn't feel like that. That felt to me like a Laconian proto-molecule ship. That scared the hell out of me. And that to me is a final type of boss thing. That is scary. I don't like whatever the hell I saw, because it looked like Cortazar was giving them an update, like, yeah, we've made progress. Like, whatever they've been working on, they've started to understand proto-molecule technology, is kind of what I've got from that. That's I don't know if that's what you guys got from chat, and you got from, well, you've read the books, Ashaya. But anyways, that's what I got from it, and that scares the shit out of me. I always felt like Marco was going to be a kind of a villain for one or two seasons. I didn't feel like he was like this. This is way more dangerous than Marco.
Yeah, it's kind of a standard thing in books or movies or TV, etc. I guess less so in movies, because whatever. But is to level up. You've got your Aaron Wright and your Jules Pierre Mao, and your, then you go up to Marco, etc. In terms of your overall big bad, I think that is standard. And yeah, I think it's clear that he isn't the final boss.
Yeah, because we kind of got some of some preview of that in season 4 from Illis. We got the monoliths and the alien structures, and it certainly seemed like Laconia had a lot of that, and this thing was developing in the sky. And the concept art was amazing. Ashaya, you shared that, and I was like immediately drawn by that. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like. Yeah, like it has like wings. It kind of looks like aerodynamic. Like it looks like a ship.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. Oh, I can't put a link in the chat.
Maybe I could put it as our background. Could I change the background right now?
Here, I'll send it to you in our chat. This is private chat. Here, I can send you this.
I should have put it as the background.
But anyways, I took a bunch of 4K pictures and also lightened pictures, and it really helps clear things up, so to speak. And I also included.
At Miranese, not on Twitter, by the way, in the description of the video if you want to go check it out.
But yeah, Kyle, in our private chat, do you see on Melon? Do you see the Imgur album that I linked?
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, if you can just put that in the chat.
Now it won't. Now I'm having an issue clicking on it.
Oh.
It's, like settings, like all the words are jumbled up in the corner. You want to post it? Can you post it?
No, I'm not a mod, Kyle. I can't post links.
What? Oh, okay. Send it to me on Facebook, and then I'll.
Okay, this is it's all worth it, guys.
And then I'll copy and paste it. But yeah, chat. That was super epic. Like, Ashaya had saw the episode before me. She didn't spoil anything, but she said, "Watch through the credits," and I said, "I will." I usually do anyways because I'm a Marvel fan. And I usually stay. But yeah, that to me was a pretty big revelation. I feel like I know that there's more books after this, and that probably won't get some of the book stuff won't get adapted into season 6, for example, because I think most of the Marcos. And there's the Imgur album for you guys to go check out. I put it in the live chat for you guys.
Cool. Great. And so, yeah, those are a number of pictures, including there were Easter eggs throughout the season that made me quite positive we were getting lots of Laconia, that we will be getting it, because from the intro, we first by the ring gate, you see a little dude, and then next to him it says Laconia, and then you see an MCRN ship going through the ring, and then later in the credits you see the planet that they go through at the end of the credits. That is Laconia, and you see an MCRN ship coming and seeing those orbital platforms, and then there's like a little triangle with a question mark beside it, and that's the thing that's much bigger than the MCRM ship. It's huge. Yeah, so that's what you're seeing there. And by the way, last season, the intro credits, a lot of people don't know this, but it was Illis. That was the planet that we were seeing. They've changed the planet from Earth to Illis and now to Laconia. So interesting. And they aren't condensing the books to be in season 6, but it does seem like they are for sure setting up some longer term stuff. And I was working on recently a document where I was citing like every comment they've made that is hinting at some continuation. And I have like 20 plus comments that are strongly hinting that they want to do something. I have James S.A. Corey, like I've tweeted at James S.A. Corey, and he's been like, wait and see. And all these comments, I don't think it's the end. Also has to do with like acquiring rights. A lot to do with that, right? Because Amazon acquired their rights, Ashaya, and they had a contract for a certain amount of time with that. And we know, for the streaming rights, exactly, but only for a handful of years. So then Alcon has full rights again. It's kind of like what happened with the Deadpool, X-Men, Fox stuff with Marvel. Like they reacquired, except Marvel obviously reacquired it, but they couldn't film this stuff for years. I'm not saying this stuff is going to happen with the Expanse. It'll happen much quicker, but there's that kind of similar situation with Alcon acquiring everything. So I agree with the Ashaya. Like like season 5 was so good, and everybody's been talking about it. Like more creators on YouTube have been talking about it. Twitter, there's been great like Twitter vibes about, like people were talking about on Twitter after the episodes. I felt like this was the most successful year of the Expanse as far as like people talking about it and getting into it. And yeah, I mean, you can basically binge 5 seasons now and be like, wow, this is a really great story. You know, and I don't know. I feel like and hope that we will get more than season 6, whether it's a movie or a long movie, hopefully, or some more seasons. We will see, but we don't know exactly. Yeah, we do not. But I am far more hopeful than I am pessimistic. I will say that. So, anyways. The future there, a lot of people, you, Kyle, were saying you were wondering if it's a ship. I think we should just say that it is a ship, because people in all the chats, in all the Reddit threads are just going to say that. I was in Reddit threads and people are just like, oh, the shipyards. So yeah, it's a place where you build a ship. Whether the ship is successful, what the ship does, etc., you guys have no idea. So yeah, I see some suspect comments in chat like that are like
almost hinting on spoiling things. I get that you're excited. Just be careful with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you being hyped about anything, Elvis, but you did post a couple of things that I could consider spoilery that I haven't read. It could be like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I know there is a time jump, but for other people, man, you might not want it. You know what I'm saying? Just like chill on that. Just,
so
we try, Ashaya's read the books, but she's also respectful to me, even though haven't read past book 5. And I just, we try to meet in the middle to try to, for all Expanse fans, to have a conversation that is, you know, as good as we can make it with the analysis that we can with what we saw.
Because I think us book fans always enjoy, you know, getting some unsullied their perspective on things. I sure do, and without asking leading questions of Kyle, seeing what the hell he comes up with.
But I love how hype everyone is about it, because like I feel like this is one of the best shows on TV. I really do. Like people will say, well, you know, it's a sci-fi show. And we're kind of beyond that now. You know what I mean? Like when we got sci-fi shows in the past, like Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that, people will be like, you know, it's sci-fi. But now we're kind of getting beyond that. Like this is great drama within a sci-fi. Like it's just so good. So
yeah. I agree, and everyone talks about give them awards. I'm like, they're not going to get a damn award. At the very they should get. There's plenty of technical awards that they should get. Yeah, it's just not happening, unfortunately. But it's okay because they win lots of Hugo awards, Worldcon awards, the science fiction fantasy awards. So that is its own sort of clout, I think.
So let's talk a little bit about the ring scene. Salvatore and Lieutenant Babbage. What happened there? We heard Elvie talk about that with obviously with Holden, and then we saw Holden talk about that with Fred.
And we saw their, whatever the word is, their simulation of it in that first episode. Yeah.
And this is in reference to the unknown aggressors, the people that it's what's it called? The slow zone, I believe it's called.
Yeah. The ring space now, it's not, it's the slow zone, but it's technically not slow. But
yeah, they are ultra powerful, and they're able to manipulate whatever is going on there. And essentially, they just got demattered, like they just got turned into matter. They got I don't know what happened there exactly, but it must have not felt good. they're all dead is what I'm saying.
They're dead. Yeah, basically, it seems their essence is no longer together. Their bodies.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing, by the way, to translate to TV. You can read it in a book, and it works a lot better in a book than it does.
If you imagine it, yeah.
Yeah, it does. That isn't at all how I personally imagined it at all. So, that's interesting to me. It's a very hard thing to picture, though. I didn't picture. I have to go. Really should go back and look at how they described it. Actually, I was like not picturing these weird orange and like flame looking stuff. I don't know, it looks like an inferno almost in some respects.
Yeah, it was rad. I really enjoyed it, and it just gave me vibes that whatever was there with Cortazar, whatever happened with Salvatore and Lieutenant Babbage there, I was just it's like enter at your own risk. That was a warning. That was a very serious warning. Yeah. And I wonder if is that the only ring that can do that? I'm guessing no. But
that was them going through from the Soul Gate through the Soul Gate. To be clear, for what ring you're guessing, if it was just that.
Yeah. So they were headed from the Soul Gate to Laconia, correct?
Yes, exactly.
So, dangerous waters heading to Laconia. Don't screw with us. Don't come with us. Don't come to us.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
And I'm assuming we're going to find out more about that because we have Monica. She knows that the proto-molecule missile and everything that's happened. We knew that she was going to figure something out. She had played a huge role this season, and she had been looking at all the information, and she had found out of all the missiles that were shot, one was actually deceptively shot, and the proto-molecule missile actually was sent somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Monica knows that, so I think we can all assume that we'll see Monica next season. Yeah. I think you'll predict that as well, that she will still be relevant.
I think she could.
You see her like she's like sidling up at the Luna reunion, like she tries to get into.
She's like, "Come on!" Like one of those reporters that are trying to get through. Yeah. She like I feel like she could be. I feel like she could move the plot forward. Like she could. John Hagee, who's in chat, actually brought this up to me, like through comms, like whether it's her scientific discovery, she can move the plot forward. Like she can, like, you know, like she's going to be in communication with Holden. She's going to be on the Rocinante, I'm guessing. So it's going to be really interesting. I think. Do you think I don't know. I think she's going to be on the Rocinante, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of role she's going to play, because this is huge, right? Like this is like affecting all the Soul Galaxy. Like the protomolecule, if that hit another planet or that hit Earth, like that's game over, right? And the fact that what we see on Laconia now, that's even more concerning because they have protomolecule tech there. That's dangerous as hell.
So what? I think we're safe to start to say some predictions for these plot lines, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can ask you some. So you're talking about Rocinante, about the idea of Monica on it. Where do we start off season 6? What is the Rocinante off to do? Where are they? What's up? Keeping in mind that they do a little time jump. They let a little time pass.
Well, Marco took power around that gate, right? Like they basically wiped out Earth's forces there. And I think that while Holden and crew are definitely going to be getting back out there, and there's going to be, I think, skirmishes with the Free Navy. I think we'll start off with that, and I think that they are going to try to find a way to like bring Marco to justice. Like that will be probably the main theme of the season. I'm guessing there will be another overarching theme now that we saw that crazy ship in the end credits. Like that's concerning, you know what I mean? Now there's another strong, powerful faction that has their whole system, that has a whole system to themselves. That'll somehow factor into it, but I think that's okay. The immediate threat that they know about is Marco, and he just basically declared, even like he already declared war on Earth, but he's going even further by trying to control the rings.
Yeah. Okay,
so that's where I think it starts.
Off to that, an attack starts off pretty quickly with them on the hunt.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, cool.
The Rocinante crew fighting out in outer space to start off the season.
Will we see? Will we get on the ground in Laconia?
With Cortazar, probably.
You think so? Cool.
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean, why would they show it in the season finale if we weren't going to see it in season 6?
Okay.
I don't know how much we'll see of it, but I mean, that was certainly a pretty big tease. I mean, they killed Sobater and Lieutenant Babbage, and those are characters that were, I mean, Bobby was on their tail. I don't think she's just going to give up now. Her and Alex, that was their mission. I don't think Bobby's going to stop. She was there with Avasarala, and they were attacked, and now they know that the Martians were in on it. So there's definitely going to be an investigation into that. Like, well, why are they coming from that specific ring? What are they doing there? Like, there's going to be some fact-finding missions.
Okay, so yeah, you expect a hunt for Marco, a fact-finding mission about the Martians. It's two of the plot lines you expect most of all. Cool.
I could maybe some of that will converge. Maybe, I don't know. It seems like Bobby's gonna. She seemed like she was closer with Avasarala, like she was a little bit off to the side from the rest of the Rocinante group. Maybe she feels like she's not as connected with some of them, but I think she's going to join up with the Rocinante. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe she could be like doing stuff for Avasarala again, but I don't know. Like going by herself seems pretty risky considering the stakes, how high they are now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel that she will join up with the Rocinante.
Okay, cool. She'll join up with the Rocinante.
And they will be tracking both of those things because they're related. Because I mean, Martians betrayed the Martians. Like they like I mean, and now they're declaring war with Marco's Free Navy, and they're supplying him with ships. So there's like this big intergalactic war going on now, and it's complicated.
Okay, next question for you would be, I lost my train of thought entirely. Oh yeah. Pilot. Who's the pilot?
I don't know. Like, it was weird because Bull was drinking out of Alex's coffee mug, and I really didn't like that, by the way. That really pissed me off. He was like, oh, he's dead. And I was like, what the hell was that about? I didn't understand that at all, by the way. I don't know if that was meant to piss us off or that was just like.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if that was meant to be a hint that Bull is the new pilot, they had to reshoot that, or maybe they just got that on B-roll. Like they happened to get that.
Yeah.
Unclear for that. And I thought at first I was like, okay, well, Bull's the pilot. I'm gonna have to
Clarissa.
But see, this is the thing. Is that when tweeted at James S.A. Someone was like, I can't believe Bull's the pilot. And James S.A. Corey was like, you don't even know what we're doing. You know, he basically brushed them off. And of course they would do that in general. I don't know. But it gave me some hope that it isn't just Bull. And
didn't Holden tell Bull he was like, this is your last mission with us anyways?
No, he says this is your last time saying that word on the ship. Skinny.
I'm missing.
Yeah, I was just saying that. So
we didn't see him at the party though.
No, we don't see Bull at the party. But that was before whatever reshoots they would have had to do. We also don't see Clarissa at the party, but that's because she's a wanted criminal. Not wanted, actually. Presumed dead criminal, I suppose.
Yeah, she shows up at the Rocinante later with Amos.
Yeah, so there's that. I just don't see Holden just trusting Clarissa to be the pilot as much as I would like it. Over time, maybe I could see it, but I don't see it immediately. I think what's important here is they need redundancy. And I will say in the books, there are circumstances where they do at certain points need other pilots, or they do need other people on the crew. We do meet two different pilots, Chava Lamba and Arnold Mufumbe, or, you know, we meet two different pilots. It's possible we just meet two different characters. I would like that. I would enjoy we meet some pilots. There's some extra people on the crew. So I think that's very possible.
I'm going to shame myself, Ashaya, because you're not going to like what I have to say here.
Shame.
I think the pilot's going to be Bull, unfortunately.
Shame.
I don't know. I felt like the whole
I thought so too.
I felt like the coffee cup thing. I don't know. He felt like he was comfortable on the ship, and they were trying to show us that. And
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I told you. I thought so, and I only took it back, and I only questioned it because of that one tweet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold on to that little
chat. Press 1 in chat if you think Bull's gonna be the pilot. I'm interested to see.
Press 5 in chat if you love Bull.
What?
I don't know.
Some people are saying drummer for pilot. I think that's unrealistic.
Yeah, no. People have talked about like, oh, what if they merge crews now? That's not going to happen. Drummer has multiple ships under her. She has multiple people in her crew. It's just that she's not a pilot. That's never going to happen. Unfortunately, there's not going to be one big Rossi Posse, Polyam Belter fam like combination.
We got some fives.
Lots of people who love Bull. Okay. Interesting.
I didn't dislike his. I'd be really interested to see. Like, I felt like he did an adequate job, though. Like, he was a good devil's advocate, I think. I mean, Holden, he was like, listen, this is suicide, dude. I kind of don't want to die here. Like, this is not good. Like, we're really outgunned. And Holden's like, we're doing this anyways. And then, Bull kind of makes the disparaging remarks about Naomi being his girlfriend, like the misogynistic comment,
Yeah.
It's just, it was whatever. It didn't really bother me that much. But
everyone says he has room to grow, and I completely agree with that. And I agree with everyone, all comments about that, and all these characters that we were first introduced to that were awful at the beginning. But it's been a season. It hasn't really happened yet, and it'll take a while still. So,
and part of his growth too, he was gonna say a slur about the Belters, and then he stopped himself in the last episode as well. I don't know if you noticed this.
Yeah, that was him.
I don't know if that's growth, but obviously there was Belter crew, some Belters on the Rocinante. So I don't know if that was necessarily growth, but he did stop himself, which was commendable, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll know. I mean, I hope we'll get some casting news out of it. This isn't the kind of show that people follow, obsessively behind the scenes, like a Game of Thrones, where you find leaks and stuff. But man, this pilot thing, I really want to know who they've got filming.
Yeah. I'm wondering how many episodes we're going to get. I'm probably the standard 10, I'm guessing we're getting in season 6. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a few more. I don't know, but that seems like a pretty good amount. They've done a really good job with the pacing of the episodes, I think. I had no issue with that. Some were slower than others, but I felt like overall the structure of the season was fantastic, and overall was good. I said MVP. That we already said our MVPs of the season. What was your favorite moment of episode 10? Like I said, it was Naomi, the Naomi scene. I also really liked the end credit scene with
that was mine.
Laconia.
Yeah, that was mine. I've been waiting to see that since it was first introduced. It's my favorite plot line in the books is that whole arc of things. So yeah, 100%. It had to be that.
Wow, that's your favorite arc in all of so this arc, whatever's going on here is your favorite arc.
Yeah, so it is my favorite arc. Coming up as in book 7, 8, 9. This is book 6, and this is them, introducing what will be in 7, 8, 9.
And 9 is going to be the final book, correct?
Yes, 9 is
Leviathan Falls.
Yeah, 9. Yes, exactly. Leviathan Falls, and book 8 is my favorite personally.
Tiamat's Wrath, I believe, is called.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And so I love the Laconia stuff. I don't know how much they'll go, how far they'll go with that, but it's where they really start to get a little bit more into some proto-molecule stuff again. My 2 favorite arcs would be the Laconia arc and the opening of the Ring Gate arc. Basically,
yeah, it does seem like they're speaking of the Expanse, they're going to expand on certain things as far as technology and that kind of thing. We're getting really advanced with some of the stuff. So, yeah, overall, I thought it was a great season finale. I thought it was just a great season overall. I felt like every episode was just awesome. Tonight we're wanting more. We both talked about before how we got on air, how we wish that there was more Expanse to watch, but we're both satisfied with what we got this season. And the weekly thing was so cool because we got to chat about it, and I think it was just a getting back. We obviously had the drop all at once last year. We had previously had the weekly drops, and but having it on a space such as Amazon, I think the fan base grew for sure in season 5 for the Expanse.
Yeah, I think so as well. I really do. I would agree with that. Elvis says, we're talking about, people were saying MVP of the season is Sakai, obviously. And Elvis said, Sakai took over Tycho while Holden pulled Bull into a goose chase sunwards.
Yeah, we didn't see her again.
No, I assume she's still locked up, to be honest. What are they going to do? Just kill her? Who's in charge of Belter Justice? Who do they turn her into the Earth Corps? I assume Tycho Station, who Earthers deal with her. I don't expect us to ever deal with that, but it is a good question, actually.
What was your favorite quote of the episode?
Okay, of the episode. Probably. I don't know what my favorite quote of the actual episode is. I know my favorite quotes of the season, but
all right, let's hear it.
My favorite quotes of the season would be I know he wouldn't die for you, but he would let you die for him, because I think that is a quote that rings true across all 5 seasons, across all the characters, all the plot lines about who and what you're willing to die for. In the episode, we even see Amos talk about it with Naomi. We see this come up with Drummer and with Holden. We see it constantly, essentially, even though, Naomi's talking to Philip during this, and it really cuts at the heart of what Philip should be thinking about with Marco. So I love that line. And then the line I brought up from the Winnipesaukee episode where Clarissa talks about how you need to take care of everyone, basically. That's how, take care of people, even the people who don't have anything seemingly to offer, because that's just a really beautiful sentiment that I think rings true for our life.
Yeah, so. Puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? Name both. I'll put you on the spot now. What's your favorite quote from this episode and this season?
Everything that Avasarala said. Come on. I don't know. I think it was it was what Naomi said to Philip. That was the most powerful thing to me. You know what I mean? She's trying to level with her son and really connect with him, even though, she knows she's messed up and all of that. That to me was, I think that was the most powerful one-on-one comment to someone in the season. So I'm gonna agree. And she was genuinely trying so hard to get through to Philip, and then he still ends up getting brainwashed by Marco. So I'm not saying that it's not the most impactful, but to me, I felt that so emotionally. You know what I mean? Because she showed that she still loved her son, and that was like, I don't know, it's just such an amazing performance by Naomi and Philip, both of their actors.
I got a funny line that I like.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's really dumb. It's just, speaking of Sakai, it's her, too bad, so sad.
Oh man, that one just gets on my nerves. You know what I mean?
I love how she says it. She's so whiny.
Yeah, there's Amos had some great ones with Clarissa when he first gets down to her and with the prison, he's talking to her and talking about how he wanted to help her, I think, and then Clarissa had some really strong dialogue too when they killed that doomsday prepper, and they have their conversation, talking about the idea of good and evil and people's choices and all of that. I think that was a pretty strong theme throughout the season. What we can perceive as good and evil. And I think that they really nailed that.
Bobby had a good speech too, and she talked about her mouse. That I thought that was a good moment for her. One of the few moments she really got. That is one of my complaints of the season, by the way. Is just I felt Bobby was completely underused.
I think she'll have strong use next season, though.
I think so too. She's our only real Martian, so I think she'll definitely finally get really featured again. But I that's all. But she at least got a good monologue, a good speech. I think did all the characters get at least one good speech of our main character?
I also loved when Avasarala was talking to Delgado. She's just heartbroken, and she tries to crack a joke. You know what I mean? Obviously she knows that her husband's died. Yeah, she's trying to bring some light to the situation, but she knows how bad the situation is. I think that was in episode 5 or episode 6. She's sitting on her desk and she's crying. And she's just trying to put on a straight face. I don't know. There was really so many good ones that we can name.
I know the worst line was the punchline to honest joke, which that's the point and all that, and I think that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was racist, xenophobic. It was not cool.
Exactly. It was a good moment. I thought, and I enjoyed.
But it highlighted what Belter's experience.
Yeah,
people talking about them like that.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed. There were a lot of other people who brought up their own ideas for the punchline. Or they order an earther liquor because I'm my own enemy, or etc. Because they don't even care about the Martians or the Belters, or etc. I've seen a number like that, but just because they're terrible, it's awful.
Overall, there was some good comedy amidst all the darkness. There was a light in the darkness, not a knife in the darkness always. Also, got to give it up for Keon Alexander, who played Marco, played a very compelling villain.
I agree.
Do you felt like he was a good Marco in your eyes?
I think he was a good Marco. I think he was a great Marco. I've seen some criticism that they felt, and I think this would be a criticism of the writing, that they felt he jumped straight to it being clear how he treats his son, how manipulative he is. But to be honest, I think at the point that you already know what a genocidal maniac he is, I don't really think he can look any better, even if he's treating his son better. But people's ideal world or in the books, it's revealed a little more slowly. I mean, you could just guess, but
the manipulation and the abuse.
yeah, and how he like sometimes blames Philip. Like if it's a failure, it's Philip's fault, and if it's a success, it's their fault together.
Victim blaming and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
You know, that sort of thing. And so maybe he was just clearly villainous early, but he already was. I don't know.
The victim blaming stuff. Yeah.
I'm bringing up other people's complaints basically here.
I was going to say the victim blaming stuff often comes with authoritarianism and far right extremism. I've studied that quite a bit in my time. And yeah, just, you know, obviously like it just, his delusions of grandeur, you know, what he envisions for himself becoming a sort of god for the Belters, and just the way he treats his son is just so shitty. But yeah, I felt like he was I love to hate him. Like I did, like I felt I didn't empathize with his behavior, but I tried to understand where he was coming from. And I think that's always an interesting, kind of line to take, try to understand why that person is making the decisions they're making. And I think that through the season that they obviously did that, but I mean, they showed that Marco was pretty twisted in his ways, and that yeah, he's going to be pretty deserving of whatever he gets in season 6. I think he's totally going to get killed off in season 6 for sure. There is no way he survives.
Who's your prediction now? You've had all these predictions for who you think's going to kill who's going to kill Marco, who's going to save Naomi. Who do you think's going to kill Marco at this point?
Oh man, I think it has to be Naomi because it's the strongest emotional connection. But
okay,
I mean, I could see a combination of people doing. I don't know. Yeah. I can even see Holden doing it because, like, look at what Naomi's his lover. You know, they're soulmates, as I like to say.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, a combination of people can just be like, "Oh, the Rocinante blows it up."
Yeah, you know? Something like that. I don't think it's gonna be like a one-on-one fight or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Free Navy will end up getting it somehow. I don't know how, but it would be interesting if that proto-molecule missile.
They're gonna catch Marco, right? And they're gonna want to take him in, okay, to imprison him for his crimes, and he's gonna call for a trial by combat.
Oh, lol. Trial by combat. I demand a trial by combat.
It's like, okay, but you're going against Bobby.
Who is he? Rudy Giuliani? My God. Demanding a trial by combat. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's going to be super interesting to see where they go with things. Obviously, I am so intrigued about the Martian plot. We talked about this earlier in the season. I'm like, I feel like this is like the secondary plot, but I feel like it's like something because the Martians are so advanced, right? I'm not saying that the Belters aren't advanced, but I was like, they are trying to move past Earth technologically. In society, they are trying to create their own dynasty, essentially.
I mean, that's how things started off. If you remember, with Mars breaking off from Earth in the first place, is that they had the Epstein drive. Yeah, 100%.
And I've always felt like kind of uneasy about, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of fell back to the wayside a little bit. We've kind of had this uneasy, I wouldn't say alliance, but uneasiness, you know, people kind of just minding their own business in their own sectors of soul. But now that's completely broken. We know that I think there's rogue groups in every faction. I mean, look at what happened with Pastor and his people. Avasarala walked out and she wasn't going to be bombing innocent Belters. So we kind of see that it was the tribalism that was, you know, that was obviously a huge theme throughout the season as well. The tribalism of each of these factions and how they kind of battle it out and who rises to the top in each of those factions. It clearly seems like, I don't know, I think like the Laconian faction, they seem the most dangerous to me out of anyone, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll say after you see that crazy ending. So
whatever that is, that concerns me. That hybrid entity ship that they have.
And I'll say from my prediction, because I mean, I don't like, I know what's happening in the books, but it's a TV show and they change things. And so I don't want to predict overly much, but because the Laconia stuff, we really don't know how they're going to fold that in. You say you think that we were going to see some eyes on the ground in Laconia. I think that if we do, it's going to be like a little prologue or a little epilogue. Is what I think. Kind of like a, you know, like as in a short story, as in like how we got the Epstein. We were speaking about Solomon Epstein as it happened. Something sort of like that, maybe more standalone, but just part of it. I don't know. That's my prediction, is that maybe we'll see that, but I don't think we'll see Laconia throughout the season. In other words, I think it'll only be at the very beginning or the very end.
Whew. Well, we have a long time to wait to find out, don't we, Ashaya? I think nearly another year, I think.
Yeah, we do. You got a super chat, by the way. I don't think
we did?
read. Yeah, Will Moss said, appreciate you guys putting this great show together. Thanks.
We'll give a round of applause to Will. Thank you for donating, man. We really appreciate that. This has kind of been super fun, of course. This all really started out when me and Ashaya teamed up to go to DragonCon 2019, and we got to interview. We were lucky enough to interview Wes, and I know, Ashaya, stop laughing. We were lucky enough to interview Wes and Steven, who play Amos and Holden. The interview's on my channel if you guys want to go check it out. And it was actually before season 5. Well, Steven was pretty coy about what they couldn't tell us a lot because they were still filming season 5. But they said it was their favorite season. And that it was as far as like the risk they took in filming and how much they did with the story, and that it was their favorite. So yeah, feel free to go check it out. DragonCon 2019, our interview with them. That's some kind of extra content, of course. We appreciate how many episodes? This is like our 7th episode. We did 7 of these, so that was super fun to share. And it was just super fun to chill with all you guys weekly. That's why I love the weekly format. You know, like you're able to have discussions with people and get hyped for the next episode and have anticipation for the next week. And yeah, it was just overall a really fun, a really wild ride, as Alex would say.
Yeah, and I think that really covers it for me. I don't think I have any more prediction questions to ask you. I think we covered, let me just scroll back up, make sure we covered every plot line in Marco and Ross. Yeah, I mean, they've all got kind of condensed now. They all were so separate before, so covering them was a little messier. But yeah, your predictions are in. Oh, wait, so Drummer. I don't think I got like a concrete prediction from you for Drummer. Throw it out there.
Yeah, Avasarala is going to be leading the UN. She's going to try to pull, like, it seems like she's going to try to pull some people together.
Okay.
I think that, yeah, Drummer, I mean, it seems like she was really trying to establish, because Marco is obviously this extreme sect of the Belters, right? So I think that Drummer is going to, I mean, she put her flag down. She's in opposition to Marco. And it's clear that some part of the Belters are going to be with Marco. So I think that she's actually going to meet up with Avasarala.
Okay. And probably you'll see more Belters that are against Marco as well.
Well, but I also think that that Drummer will also try to say, like, hey, we deserve more than we, you know what I mean? Like, I think that we could see, like, Avasarala and Drummer are both very strong women. I could see them having a very interesting conversation. Yeah. And I don't think Drummer's just going to stand there and take it, you know what I mean? And take it because of, you know, just Marco as a Belter. And I think that Avasarala understands that too, but I think that there could be something interesting there.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So I think that that's going to do it for me and Ashaya. It's been a super wild ride. Death of Alex Kamal, that was interesting too, huh, Ashaya? Like the plaque and everything. I think it was a fitting send-off, though. And I think it's a fitting send-off to have a little Expanse music while we thank you for coming to join us with all of our chats. Maybe we'll do some more of these. Who knows? We might have an itch to talk about the Expanse a little bit more. We get some filming stuff coming around and some good news maybe on something beyond Season 6. Who knows? But thanks, everyone, for joining us. Me and Ashaya, thank you very much for joining us. Ashaya, her link, Mirani's not at Twitter. History of Westeros YouTube in the description of this video. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you soon.